Oh, great. I just pressed the recording button, my lip starts bleeding. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Oh, it's just brilliant. Let's do the countdown. 4 guys, 7HE404GUY. This mic is way too low. Let's bring this up a little. Microphone adjustment noises. Is that better? Looks better. Feels better. Alright. Back with a little bit of Kerbal Space Program. I'm really kind of enjoying this game despite all of the frustrations. I mean, how many times has something negative happened? How many times has something happened that's been completely inexplicable? More than few. I'd say more than 2. The most recent frustration is the fact that probes that you send out into space for some reason don't go into hibernation automatically when you time warp, which doesn't make any sense to me because if it's not in hibernation, what is it doing differently than if it's in hibernation when you're in time warp? It makes no sense. It should automatically hibernate, but it doesn't. And as a result, we run out of batteries. But anyway, we managed to accomplish landing on the moon in the last stream, as well as returning from the moon and from an orbit of the moon, that is. So realistically, in this stream, we should be able to, I think, get to Minimus. At least do a flyby. Now, of course, I want to have the world first things up, so we actually get compensation for the mission of going to Minimus. Of course, it's going to be kind of difficult to seed that. I don't know. I'm distracted by my bleeding lip. Don't bleed my lip. My bleeding lip. Turn the microphone a little bit so I can see this side of the screen. That looks better. It's a little bit better at least. Hopefully it sounds okay. Let's get started with some Kerbal Space Program. So as you can see, here we are. What do we have for propulsion systems? There's nuclear. Wow, nuclear propulsion is quite a ways away, isn't it? We have to unlock a higher capacity science facility first. And that's 902,000. Which brings us up to 500. But we don't have the money for that. We have the money to upgrade the vehicle assembly if we wanted to. I don't know that we need to upgrade the spaceplane hangar. Let's see what we've got here. So we need to test a rover max splashdown. I don't know why I splash down something just yet. Wow, that is an expensive task right there. Pepe Little Vessel. Oh yeah, Pepe Little. Okay. No, it doesn't look like there's a lot of tasks at hand. The only other tasks we have is rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of the moon and return to Kerbin from the surface of the moon. Now that one's going to be tough. But I have an idea for that. See, if we can return to Kerbin from surface of the moon, what we could do is we could put a vessel in like a low moon orbit, and then rendezvous them. That would accomplish both tasks. I think that would be the best bet right there. So let's go ahead and what do we have? What do we have in orbit of the moon right now? Is a good question. We have the moon. What do we have here? So we do have an orbiter. An unmanned vessel. Of course, it doesn't look particularly good. Wow, how much debris do we have here? That's garbage. That's garbage. Okay, can I just, like, destroy some of this stuff? Is there anything that's splashed down? Orbiting. It's all orbiting. Huh. Okay. So the idea is, if we can land on the moon and we can get 2 vessels to rendezvous from the moon, then perhaps we can get a return voyage. That's decoupling. So that might be something I need to unlock. I might need to unlock the. Is the grabber available at this level? We have the docking port, and EVA experiments. We need the. There's the clamp-o-matic thing that you can use to connect to spacecraft. I don't see it though, so maybe it's not available yet. Advanced construction. That's not it, no. Aerodynamic, that's advanced nose cone. This is fuel systems. So it's not available at this level. The only thing we have available at this level is the junior docking port. It's in actuators. That's the grabbing thing. That's the other grabbing unit. Okay. So it's not even unlockable yet. Which means all we have is this this miniature docking port. Really? Wait a minute. Huh. Are we sure that we don't have a docking port already? Because we might have one just sitting around in here. So utility, snapshot, starshot. Okay, so none of these are docking ports. This is cargo, science, communication, electrical, thermal, ground, aerodynamic. This is payload. Wow, we don't have a docking port. It would imply that we did. The description of that implies that we have a docking port, but we don't. Sure it wouldn't be generalized construction? No. Huh. So this is just somehow how we get our first docking port. Well, I guess that's just going to have to be what it is then, isn't it? I don't know that I want to unlock that one, though. You know what? I really feel like it'd be problematic. Oh man, I'm so indecisive right now. Just tell me what to do. We could do this polar tundra orbit. Thermometer, 10 seconds. It's advanced 38,000, completion is 97,000. We could do that. I don't see why not. A new unmanned spacecraft that can generate power, has an antenna, fully assembled when launched. Reach the designated tundra orbit of Kerbin with a minimal deviation. Oh, mystery goo. That's going to be a tough one to get. I think we could do that. Right, because that's that fancy-looking orbit that we see from the tracking station. This fancy-looking orbit. So that's 103,000. That's 5 million. That's 9 million. We could. It looks like it would be possible. It looks distinctly possible. No idea. Well, I'm thinking the best thing to do now would probably be to at least get the docking port. Right, so we can research this. This looks like the next logical thing, because otherwise we're doing heavy rocketry, which we don't really have the systems for. Or we have light rocketry. Or we have fuel systems. None of which I think are particularly great, but this one really just has the one though, doesn't it? Just the docking port that we need. Is there anything else that we could potentially benefit from? Like this RCS stuff is pretty cool, but not particularly useful at the moment. Landing stuff we don't particularly need. No, I think definitely this this miniaturization is the one we're going to go for. I'm thinking so. And then that unlocks precision engineering when we eventually upgrade the facility. And there's some stuff. You know what? Oh, that's tough. That's tough research right there. Alright. So we're going to do the moon one again. Wherever it is. Here it is. So we're going to launch this thing to the moon. And instead of landing, we're just going to put it in orbit. But I have to attach a docking port. Now, do I have enough parts for a docking port? I do not. But we can take the parachute off of this. Because we don't particularly need the parachute at the moment. We don't need this one either. So that's two things gone. Actually, we can put the parachute. We can put the parachute back on. Right? And then we just have enough space for the docking port, wherever the docking port is. I assume it's under coupling, wasn't it? Yeah, there it is. 7,800 to oh, come on, stay in one place, will ya? Alright. So this will be our docking port. That's not too much off-center mass. We are kind of pulling it this way. You know what? The docking port I'm going to put on the other side. Because we do have that tendency to head west instead of east. Okay, this goes separate. This goes on its own. And this I need to adjust. Minimum pressure 55. We'll do 50. Altitude 1,000. Okay. Yeah, so I think this will get us to the moon. We're just going to put it into a low moon orbit. And then hopefully we can land a second thing and dock the two of them and do like a fuel transfer. Something like that. Let's try it. Because then we can return a lander from the surface of the moon. How cool would that be? And then do the other stuff. Yeah, see, this thing's trying to tip over. Okay, ready? I'm gonna aim for the sky for the most part. We're gonna hopefully hit it. It's a pretty big target. If we somehow miss the sky, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Alright, so far so good. We're pointing in the correct direction. That's what I like to see. We're just going to make sure that that yaw doesn't go way off. We have a little bit of oscillation on the hitting a natural frequency there. That's why I'm always complaining about the control schemes. I would very much like to adjust the gains on the controls. Because whatever they do in this game, occasionally it's oscillatory, and you don't want that. Oh, but no, people aren't smart enough to adjust the control schemes themselves. If you adjust the control gains, then, oh, it might be oscillatory. Well, it's oscillatory now. Just saying. You know? Alright, 87 kilometers. Give this a little bit of time here. Get ourselves up to 60,000. Wow, that's really jumping around there, isn't it? Alright, roughly 60,000. There we are. Separate it. And we'll angle it just a little bit above the horizon. Hopefully bring up that orbital velocity so we can get ourselves in orbit and then figure out what we're doing from there. Point us right down here, as a matter of fact. It really is, it's that tangential velocity that we need more than anything. We don't really need the altitude. The altitude I can take or leave. It's kind of wasteful if we gain too much altitude. It really is just that tangential velocity we're looking for here. Keep that altitude at about 90,000. So far, so good. We just need that apogee to stay where it is, roughly. Once we get close to it, I'll start angling up a little bit. A little bit of a waste of fuel, if you ask me. We just need to miss the ground. course, missing the ground is easier said than done. Here we are, close to apogee. So our velocity vector is starting to go underground. We'll bring it up a little bit. I said a little bit. Just keep it directly in front of us there. Come on, hold that velocity. 1,300 meters per second. Alright, looks like we're holding ourselves up. Apogee is starting to get ahead of us. Oop. Easy does it. All we need is a careful orbit. Alright. I might need to angle us up a little bit more again. But 90,000, I don't really want to waste more fuel. If I can avoid hitting the ground from here, I will. But if I absolutely have to, I might have to here we go. And we're going to avoid hitting the ground, it looks like. Mostly. Yeah, a little bit of inefficient use of fuel there. But we do have almost an orbit. We will have an orbit in a second. Alright, there we have an orbit. Now, where is the moon? Way over there. Okay, that's not bad. That means if we shoot from about here, roughly here, we should be able to hit the moon pretty easily. There it is, 800, a little far out. It's about 857 meters per second, so we're wasting a bit of fuel. You know, it's not the end of the world. If the docking port on this guy, we should be able to hit that. So where is the moon relative to us? We could actually scale this back a little bit and go closer to here. Right, at our maneuver point closer to here, probably. Well, hold on. Gotta see where it's going to be visited. So that's going to be closer to here. Right about here. If we add our maneuver point here and kick off that. Okay, that's way too far. Bring us back, bring us back. That's about 862. I mean, at this point, you're kind of splitting hairs. 850, 862. Nothing huge. We'll go from there. And we should be able to communicate still through relay. Are we not able? We're not able to communicate through relay, really? Because we have our communication sat right there. Maybe it's because I didn't raise the antenna. I should have raised the antenna. Huh. Well, I guess we'll see. If we hit the warp point... Oh, there we go. Okay, communications restored. Quickly, where's the antenna? There it is. Extend. Before I screw up again. Here we go. So right about here. I might hear a dog barking. Complained to the neighbors before about the dog. But be like the dog. Be like the dog. The dog does not care about Texas. The dog does not care about this or that or getting presents from anybody. Be like the dog. Alright, here we go. Alright, looking good. And 110. Just about out of fuel. And out of fuel, we're going to jettison. And we're going to start the second burn. Which looks pretty good so far, so good. should really be keeping an eye on this part. There it is, and there's the moon. Okay. This will get us to the moon easily enough. Then we're going to get into orbit of the moon, hopefully a very low orbit, because then we can send up a lander, refuel it, and get back to Kerbin. That's kind of the goal. And we're going to point this north. Whoa, hello. This is a loose little thing, and we're going to hibernate it, because apparently hibernation does not apply when you time warp. I don't know functionally what the difference is. Nobody's been able to explain it to me. Hasn't there been a comment? Hasn't there been a comment anywhere? What's different if you don't put it into hibernation? Is there like a change? Is something change? I suppose there's really no rationale behind why it wouldn't automatically hibernate. Makes no sense to me. Hey. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that's where we are. We kind of want to be a little bit lower than that, I think. Oh, we're locked. Hold on, let me unlock. And point at the sun, just in case. So we're going to add a maneuver point. And we want to bring this down, mostly, don't we? Oh, hello. That's a little bit questionable. No, that's not going to work. Here's what I'll do then. I'll go to the perigee, and I'll just, I'll get us into a stable orbit. That's a stable orbit. Wow, that's burning more than I expected. So that's a stable orbit right there. We can bring this in a little bit further. Just to about there. So then these are pretty close to one another, and then we just have to even it out. 300 meters per second? That's way more than I expected. I wasn't expecting to be burning that much fuel. Okay. Well, we'll try that. We'll see what it do. And we'll keep an eye on our electricity, because I don't trust this thing. I cannot trust it. Nay, I cannot. Okay, get us closer to 6 seconds. That's where we're going to start the burn, is probably 3 seconds. Just need this thing to be really well tuned. 3. Right about there. That's perfect. Okay. So we have this much fuel left. Oh, hello. We have 60 fuel and 70 oxidizer. So the question remains... Wow, look at that. We're almost exactly with this this other unmanned moon vehicle. Isn't that something? So the question that remains is, if we send another probe, we land it, how likely are we to be able to rendezvous at this altitude? It would have to be a very simple lander, wouldn't it? Like we have the we have Pepe Little. We just need something similar to Pepe Little. I got boxes of Pepe. Pepe Silvio, Pepe Silvio. I got boxes of Pepe. Alright, let's go back to the Space Center. We're going to launch another one. Second one's going to be a lander. It's going to do a touch and go. Just on the surface. So let's build that one. Alright. Boxes full of Pepe. This is going to be the lander that's going to be returning to Kerbin. So yeah, we can't get rid of this port, but we want to shave down as much as we can some of this garbage. Gotta keep these though. We gotta keep the electricity. Got the docking port. Gotta kind of keep these guys. Definitely need to keep the control. Need the battery. Oh, there's not much that we can get rid of on this. And yet we need to shave it down. We could shave these off. I just don't know what that would do to controllability. This guy's got a... Yeah, we've got the decoupler So these are the extra bits right here, this little decoupler and this heat shield, which we need to keep for when we land back on Kerbin. If we had a larger fuel tank, that might be useful. Oh, we do have a larger fuel tank. Well, then why do I... Okay, I'm kind of wasting space here with all these then, aren't I? Let's, what is this? This is fuel and oxidizer? Yes. Then that's definitely worth it. So we've got 4 of these, we got 2 of these. Yo, check it out. So that was 90 liquid fuel, this was 180. Like, that just makes perfect sense. And it's double the other thing. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Then this, let me take this guy off. I'm going to add a little bit of fuel to this guy. You think that's going to be too top heavy now? Well, that could be. That could very well be. Separate, burn secondary, separate, burn tertiary, and then we have the return run. Could be done. Do we have any spare parts? We have 2 spare. So that means we can add our secondary parachute, what like we wanted to have initially. I'm going to add that. I'm going to put it at pressure 45, 46. And that gives us room for one more thing if we want to add it. What do we want to add? Is there anything worth adding? I don't think so. I think this is about what we need. Roughly. The one thing we don't have is science stuff, do we? No, this is stripped down. So we could add a scientific experiment if we wanted to. This goo is too heavy. It's going to be too one-sided. But we could do it. Could put the mystery goo on. Grinding my teeth here. I don't know. I'm going to put this over here, over here. So I'll put the parachutes on this side. And then we'll put boxes full of Pepe on this side. There's Pepe Silvio. Man does not exist. Alright. 0.075 and 0.1. So that's how much is going to be weighed on the one side. The science, this is 0.05. So I'll put this over here. I'm going to put these guys over here, a little bit closer to center. Alright, does that work? Hold on, let's check our center of gravity. The center, okay, so that's too far to this side. We need to brace it down this way a little more. Is that better? That's okay, it's not great. This guy's a little high still. Okay, that's closer to center. Oh, now it's too far to this side. Alright, now how's that? How's that? How now? Alright, looks good. So there's our CG all lined up nice and good. That should work. And these two are set at altitude and pressure. So I just have to set those once we get into atmosphere and it'll be fine. Is the assumption. In a vacuum, we have 2,000 of this guy, then we have 2,000 of this guy. I'm hoping that's not too heavy. Because it doesn't exactly add a lot of velocity, does it? Adds a little, but not enough. And it really carries our center of mass up, doesn't it, too? There's our center of mass. Yeah, this is a long, thin structure. I actually feel like this is going to break apart. But we don't have any structural reinforcements to put on here. So we're going to have to just send it. See if we can land on the moon. If we can land on the moon, then great. If we can't land on the moon, then we'll have to figure out what to do from there. Oh, hello, it's tipping over. It's tipping over. Carefully now. Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay, point upwards. Ideally. See, this is why I say this thing's gonna tip over. It's not gonna make it to the moon. This was an expensive venture. I'm hoping that we don't lose it. Alright, positive climb rate, but not as positive of a climb rate as I would like. This is why I do not have high hopes for this mission. No, we might need to upgrade the vehicle assembly building to allow us to add more parts. Because we might just not have enough parts on this. Oh, hello. See that? We got a little bit of an oscillatory mode there. Luckily, the frequency is low enough. It looks like our control scheme can handle it, but I don't like it. Yeah, this is not going to get us quite as high up in the atmosphere as the previous attempt. Previous attempt got us to 90,000. This one's probably going to get us maybe 80, 70 if we're lucky. It doesn't look like we're even going to get that. And we're out. 65. That's what I said. 70 if we're lucky. Okay. Not great. Not a great start. Not a great showing. Go up a little bit. And we're going to actually try and separate a little early here. Just to raise our apogee quite a fair bit up. So we need it to go higher. Orbital velocity decreasing. Not a good sign, not a good showing. Alright, apogee is above 80,000. But our delta V is way lower than we need it to be. In the upper atmosphere, we're starting to try and burn into something that'll get us in orbit. Alright, our apogee is high enough. I'm going to burn straight over here now. Just send it all the way. See, bringing that apogee up to 90,000, I think is an essential thing to do. Ultimately, it's not great. As for getting to the moon, I think we're going to be burning our secondary fuel tanks up here. We're going to be burning a little bit into that secondary fuel tank. I'm not sure how far, but we'll definitely be burning into it. Now, how much of that is going to be wasted weight or dead weight? Hard to say. Yeah, I think the adage of adding more fuel is not really helping us here. I think less would have been more in this instance, interestingly enough. Because less also means less weight. With less weight, maybe we could have made it to the moon. Hard to say. Hard to say. Could have done it. Should have probably done it. But now we're actually launched. We kind of got to make it work with what we have, don't we? We'll make it work. Just gonna miss the ground. Miss the ground. It's a pretty simple task. You have to bring that velocity vector a little bit up, though, in order to do so. Oh dear. We're dropping. We're going to hit the atmosphere at this rate. Got to get that tangential velocity. What is the tangential velocity we need anyway? Somewhere around 2,000. Another at least 500 from here. What if I just send it in this direction? Just like so. I don't think we're getting enough tangential velocity component to be able to skip off the ground. Skip off the ground. We're gonna have to jettison this. Start with our next burn, and we'll just have to really hope on that one, I guess. Staging is correct. We might be able to skip the ground. Might be able to not plow into the surface of the planet. That's a good sign. Definitely something I'm aiming for is to not plow into the surface of the planet. Alright, ready to go. 2100. We're pretty close to getting something at least. Alright, do we have... I said, do we have orbit? Energy's going to come around above 70. There we go. Alright, so now we have 2,529 to play with. It's going to be another 800 meters per second getting to the moon. And then another couple hundred or so to land. We have to take off again, rendezvous, and try and get back to Kerbin. So we're going to be taking off from right around here. Wherever our little friend happens to be. So from right around here, about 800 meters per second. 802. So that's where we're going to be hitting the moon. 822. Well, that's going to be actually hitting the moon. That's impact. Now we want it to be... well, actually, no. This isn't really on center, is it? So that's actually not a terrible... configuration right there. 820 meters per second. It'll bring us down to 1,700. We'll have 1,700 to land with. We've lost control of the probe because, once again, I forgot to extend the antennae. The relay antenna. Which I should be able to do momentarily, hopefully. Give this a second. Perhaps we will drift over a communication center that we can extend our antenna. Mighty hopeful. Let's see. Still nothing. It's not looking good. Can't even see Jack on the ground down there. Where is Jack? We're not, like, out of electricity or something. Oh, no, we're not. Okay. Extend the antenna. Alright, the antenna hath been extended. I'm just going to point this thing up like so. In hopes that maybe we get some sunlight when we move around into the light. Well, actually, we're not going to move around into the light, so I should just point us where we need to be. Ready to go at 42 seconds. So we're going to start burning around 20-something. No sign of the moon just yet. Be coming over the horizon in a moment. There we're... Oh, I should be burning now. Oopsie. Alright, a lot of little notification tags that I don't need to be looking at right now, but I guess it is what it is. Alright, so about 800 meters per second to get to the moon. Pushing out that apogee little by little. About 300 meters per second to go. You know, we could definitely get to Minimus with this. This is definitely minimusable. This is minimusable. Could get there. Could be done. Whether we could get back, I don't know yet. But it's definitely minimusable. Metamucil. Metamucil? Disgusting stuff. Never want to eat it again. I ate it once. No, that was mucilix. Still, it's the same issue. Too much fiber can be a bad thing. No! Oh my gosh, that I just nearly had a heart attack. Hibernation. Because that's a thing we have to do, right? Oh, this one's blocked. Oh no, it says it's in sunlight. But it's definitely blocked. It shouldn't be in sunlight. Well, whatever. Jeez, my heart leapt into my mouth there. We started time warping, but the thing wasn't in hibernation mode. Because hibernation mode, like, it's going to be doing stuff the whole time. Oh my goodness. Because it does so much during warp when it's not in hibernation. There's so much physics going on. Alright, there's the moon. Coming into our crosshairs very slowly, I might add. Alright, slowing it down. We are now in here. Okay. Not a great showing. This is going to be our target. Once we land, though. We're going to land and take off again, and then that's going to be our target. Do you think we have enough to take off again? I don't know. So we're going to add a maneuver once we unlock the probe. Where is it here? Hibernation off. That pointing at the sun. Okay, so I'm going to add our maneuver here. Alright, there we go. That's 182 meters per second. And if we want to land on the light side of the moon, we might as well go from there. And then once we get around here, we can start our descent. So that's about 258 meters per second. Should be able to do that, I think. So let us warp to that. So we got to land, we got to take off again. And all the while we're going to be fighting gravity. Not a grand old time, but we should be able to manage. Alright, here we go. So 6 meters per second from the surface, we got to start... Or sorry, 6 seconds, we got to start the burn. And I'll start the burn right about now. Alright, so we are now stable orbit, and we are now low orbit. So 78,000 is going to be our low orbit point. I'm going to grab right about here, I think. No, right about here. Add a maneuver there. That's going to be our landing. So about another 300. Yikes. So that's going to be 300 sort of to get to the surface. And then another little bit to get back up. We might be able to get orbit, but I don't know that we'll be able to get back to Kerbin from the surface of the moon. I don't know that's going to be possible. Really hoping against hope here, aren't we? Alright. Well, that'll be our maneuver anyway. Go ahead and warp there. Wait, are we still pointing at the sun? I can't forget. We are not. Look at that. We would have been dead. Would have been dead in the water. Hello. There we go. Right about there. Pointing at the sun. Okay. That way we won't lose control when we get there. Now as for landing, ooh, I never thought of this. But as for landing, we got to make sure that this guy's definitely going to be communicable. This guy's about coming into view, so that'll be good as well. So we should be able to maintain communications. Definitely an important thing to consider. So maintaining communications all the way down to the surface. If we can't do that, then we can't control the probe. It's just going to crash into the surface of the moon and it'll be gone. Say bye-bye to your lander. 7 seconds. Start the burn. This will get us onto suborbital trajectory. Alright. Suborbital trajectory is obtained. Alright. Orbital velocity 60 meters per second. Surface velocity is now what we're interested in. And we're interested in our ground altitude. So right about here is our surface velocity. That'll slowly wind its way in as we get closer to the ground. I'm going to actually zoom into here. 100 and some odd meters per second. Carefully now. Okay, so I guess this guy's going to be way out of range then. This satellite's coming into view. This satellite's just barely in view. You know what? I'm not as rosy of a picture now, is it? We have 1,000 meters per second of delta V. We have 300 meters per second of surface velocity. By the time we get to the surface, though, our velocity is going to be so much higher, isn't it? Not to mention we're fighting gravity. Ooh, this is questionable. Warp us in a little bit further. I can start burning maybe around 50,000, I think. 50,000 seems like a good altitude to start. Okay, moving our way in carefully, slowly. Here we are, 60,000. Alright, we are now direct communication with Kerbin. So we're not using any of our communication sats. They're actually kind of on the wrong location. So whether or not we will actually have control when we land is another question entirely. We might actually just plow this thing into the ground now that I look at it. I think it would be worthwhile to take an observation here. 7.6 is our science for that. I think I'll hold on to that. I don't think that's really worth it. Alright. Yeah, we're might have been better off with a lighter, more robust design. Go ahead and slow us down a little bit here. Yeah, I don't think our return from the surface is assured. Let's get ourselves nice and close. Okay, carefully now. So what is our acceleration of this machine we have? So our max acceleration is 29 meters per second. I think the acceleration of the moon is like 1/10 of a gravitational unit. Not gravitational unit. 1/10 gravitational acceleration of the surface of the planet. The host planet, in this instance. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me on that, though. Alright, slowly but surely. Making our way to the ground. 100 meters per second. Got 500 meters per second worth of burn. Alright, 5,000 meters. 4,000. 3,000. 2,000 meters. Retrograde burn. We're just going to slowly sit on our burners here as we approach the ground at 25 meters per second. So we have 300 meters per second to get ourselves into orbit. It's not exactly ideal. I wonder what our other probe has. We're really going to be risking this one, though. No, this is definitely not going to make it. Whether or not we will actually be able to return to an orbit of the moon is also questionable. But if we can, then we can rendezvous the two vessels, and it'll be fine. But if we can't get into orbit of the moon after this, and I think 200 meters per second is not sufficient, I think it's very not sufficient, then we're rather stuck, I'm afraid. Okay, here we go. Carefully. Carefully towards the surface. 250 meters. Okay, 180 meters. Easy does it. Meters per second. Alright, we have touchdown. We have 176 meters per second to get ourselves back into orbit. That seems a little optimistic. I'm going to keep this experiment. And, what is the velocity? This is 500 meters per second orbital velocity. This is 9 meters per second orbital velocity on the surface. That's not something that's going to get into atmosphere. Not at all. Like 500 meters per second, you're kidding me. This is 200 meters per second. That's way further away. You don't have to build up that... No, so we have a second lander. But that second lander does not appear to be capable of taking off from the ground again. It's too low. Simply does not have. So select nearby objects. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna move over to this guy. Switch to Pepe Little. Let's just see how much fuel Pepe Little has. Pepe Little has 715. Like, this one can get into orbit. Look at this. This is just a much more efficient design. So I should have gone lighter. is the wisdom there. We've learned something. Well, this also doesn't have parachutes on it. Parachutes out a little bit, you know? This has 715. Despite being, yeah, it's much lighter. That's kind of the idea there. But with 715, see, you could get into an orbit with that, potentially. You have the possibility of doing so. Yeah, this guy's 243. How's this guy doing? This one has 1,300 meters per second of delta V on it. And it's going to be out of fuel. It's kind of in the same situation. So it's really just that fuel delivery. We need a system to deliver fuel to the surface of the moon. Just seeming a little bit optimistic. I don't think we would be able to do that. This guy's at least landed. But, whoa, hello. It just bounced up off the ground out of nowhere. That's unfortunate. Let's hope it doesn't smash. 5, 6, 7. Yikes. Probably because it's on an angle. That's what I'm going to guess. Yeah, this guy's it's just too heavy. 176 meters per second. I don't think you can get an orbit with that, can you? You'd be hard pressed for it, I think. What's the mass of the moon anyway? Rotation period. Escape velocity 807. So we can't get an escape velocity with our guy on the ground. Even if we could rendezvous two vessels there, we wouldn't be able to get an escape velocity out of it. The other vessel actually potentially could. Pepe Little might be able to get close, but still not close enough. Pepe Little is in a bit of a predicament here. This guy, we could just review, we could just send the 10 worth of data. That would go... So we need to rendezvous two vessels and return from the surface of the moon. We can rendezvous two vessels easily enough. Give us a little bit of science, but not what we need. No, sir. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Well, let's try sending it. All right, so that's at least a little bit of science that we've retrieved from this particular mission. Still not great. 176. Really disappointed by that. Ultimately, thought we would have had a little bit more play with that. Alas, we have not. Escape trajectory out of Kerbin. I bet we could do that. Haul this into flight above Kerbin to 34,000. We could do that. Test a stack separator landed. We could do that. Observation of the moon. Yeah, I don't think so. Orbital station with 2,000 units of fuel. That's a little bit heavy. A little heavy. So testing a decoupler on an escape trajectory of the moon. I think we could do that. We just have to do a flyby of the moon, but that's about what this advance costs. And then completion would be 55. That would be worthwhile. And then we have testing an ant on escape trajectory out of Kerbin. So escape trajectory, yeah, we could do that as well. We just have to activate it through staging. That'd be basically a lost vessel sent out into the void. We could do that. Okay. So of these things, explore the moon, we're going to put on the back burner for now. At least it doesn't expire. We're going to test the ant on an escape trajectory of Kerbin. We can do that. Test a decoupler on an escape trajectory of the moon. We can actually do both of those in one. Landed at Kerbin and haul this into spaceflight. So we can test the thing landed at Kerbin right now. We might as well do that. Give that 2 seconds. Okay, I guess we got a new spacecraft. We're going to put this on, and we have to test the ant, was it? Or no? Landed at Kerbin, tested TS-06 stack separator. Where's our TS-06? Is it TD or TS? TS. Test stack separator. And the rest of them are on escape trajectories. So we'll just test this right now. It's an easy enough thing to test. And press the spacebar, the thing's going to launch itself into the air. Might come back and hit us. Here we go. There it goes. Here it comes back. 3, 2, 1. Told you. Came back and hit us in the face. Alright, let's recover. Alrighty. Well, that was something. At least we accomplished that mission. Let's clear these 2 contracts. Clear contract, clear contract. Alright, what other contracts do we have? I know we gotta lug an engine into something or other. Test a skipper fuel engine in flight over Kerbin. So we need to go to 34,000 between 210 and 240 meters per second and test a liquid fuel engine. That shouldn't be too difficult. We'll put this guy down. Where's the skipper? There's the skipper. That's a rather large engine. Okay. A little bit bigger of an engine than I was expecting. Aerodynamics, do we have any? We could put this on, I guess. Doesn't exactly help. Then we have, I guess we could, See, the wisdom is to use the thumper thing. This guy. Do you think that would get us to altitude? 34,000 on this guy? I don't know. I'd be inclined to add one of these, and a couple of parachutes, because I don't think we're going to be able to land. Add one of these. We'll add one of these. This guy will be 0.5. This guy will be 0.4. There. Alright. So 34,000 between 200 and 210 meters per second. Yeah, because this guy we can't control the speed of, so maybe we should look at doing this instead. And then just adding the swivel dude on the end. Right, would that work? Hold on. Just need to see what the swivel dude is worth. Swivel dude is worth 1,700 meters per second. That might work. That might work. At least it's got parachutes. We can save it if we have to. This mission is literally just for money. Additional resources to fund the Kerbal Space Program, and hopefully it'll work. Alright, so far no good. Or maybe so good. I don't know. Doesn't look so good. So we're fighting against the ground. 1,500 meters. Need to get up to 34,000. We're not going to get anywhere close to 34,000 with this. Certainly doesn't look like it. And we're starting to tilt. Starting to tilt. Just want to see this number get to 34 at least. 34 to 39,000. Well, you know what? We actually might get there. Looking at this, we're at 10,000. That altitude does tend to increase a little bit faster as you climb. So maybe 34,000. I still think it seems unlikely. I'm going to press X to doubt. 800 meters per second to go. No, this ain't sufficient. Needs a little bit more oomph. A little bit more to push it forward. Just under, though. Just under. Just a little bit. Just barely. A little further, we would have made it. A little further. We probably could have made it if we had gone a little further. 80 meters per second. Wow, that is very close. And bring us up a little bit. I have a little bit of extra fuel, a little fuel reserved. What if I just use that to punch it a little bit more once we get up here? Oh, we are like 300 meters under. Come on. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and deploy our parachutes, and we'll just warp back to the ground. Because we have parachutes that will automatically deploy. You think those parachutes are going to deploy well enough? We're going too fast. Turn ourselves on our side. Let's see that surface velocity drop. Come on. I want to rip apart our parachutes here. And we've lost it. Hey, Captain, we can't take much more of this. One thing I forgot was to add a battery. Oh well. If we land, it's looking like we aren't going to land. Okay, I spoke too soon. Maybe we might land on Kerbal Space Center. There is a distinct possibility that we might land on Kerbal Space Center. Well, at least it's in a death spiral. There's our first parachute deployed. That stops our death spiral. Second parachute deployed. Alright, our parachutes are deploying in sequence. That's good. And maybe this thing won't plummet into the ground as I had feared. Or maybe it will plummet into the ground. Look at it, it's going 14 meters per second. That's way too fast. So much for a safe landing. We almost hit the altitude, though. Almost hit the target altitude. So maybe if I just added like a couple of doodads to the side. Who knows? And here it goes. Crash into the ground. Kablam. Kaboom. Okay, that wasn't much of a kaboom. Where's the kaboom? Sound like Marvin the Martian. Alright. That wasn't terrible. We covered 1800. You're crazy. Wait, did it break into two? Is that why? Kerbal Space Center, where art thou? Nope, not because it broke into two. Alrighty then. So that was close. That almost got us to target altitude. You know, it just says to haul the engine into location. What is the engine actually worth? Hold on. So the engine is... What's the specific impulse? So 280 at sea level. Whereas this guy is 250 at sea level. So it actually would be more beneficial to use the engine itself. To push ourselves into position. Right? That actually would be... that's a fair assessment, I think. We can do that. So what we'll do here is we'll just do this. We'll just go straight. Alright. Keeping ourselves pointed upwards. We just need to get this thing to... What was it? 30 something? 34,000? So 300 meters per second. We're hitting that... hitting the drag wall. Alright, we've exited the drag wall. Still in compressibility region. Let's see if we can hit 34. There's 30 and 34. The question is, can we keep it above 34? There's 36. Speed between 20 to whatever. Now, it just said we needed to haul it into position. So between 20 and 210 meters per second. Let's keep that 34 above. So our velocity will be pretty low once we get there. We have 260 to play with. Check it out. Not bad at all. Okay, 35. Looks like it's leveling off. At the target velocity. Now can we hit the target altitude? We hit the target altitude. Awesome. All right, let's go. We're now returning towards the ground. You know what? I just noticed what this thing is shaped as. Don't say it. I suppose you could say that a lot of aerospace engineering does that. Alright, how's this holding up? Not holding up great. So we are re-entering at quite the velocity here. Heading straight towards the Space Center. Carefully now. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off stability assist. And rocket back and forth. There we go. That'll slow us down. We'll be fine. Last one landed okay, this one ought to land okay. Still burning a little bit of electric charge there. Alright, a little bit of speed, a little bit of speed. A little bit of time warp. Here we go. 800 meters per second, 700 meters per second. Not meters per second, 700 meters. Why do I keep saying per second? Dyslexia I is. Alright, here we go. Heading towards the ground. Still, we're reading sea level velocity, but, you know, I'm not really interested in clicking to ground velocity just yet. Okay, I can do that now. So it's 50 meters. 50 meters for you. Alright, there we go. Let's recover. Not terrible. But it also wasn't great. Of course, what could we have done to make it great? I don't know. But we recovered the vessel, we recovered the funds. We completed the mission. That was worth 10,000? Yeah, nuts. 10,000, you're crazy. What do we got next? So now we need to get an escape trajectory out of Kerbin and an escape trajectory out of the moon. We can do those actually in the same test. Transmit scientific data from the surface of the moon. Can do. Stack separator landed at Kerbin. Can do. And the rest of these will leave them. So, we got to test the thing landed at the moon. Where's the moon? Let's check the moon. To the moon, I say. So, scientific data from the surface. There's Pepe Little. Pepe Little, let's fly. Gotta love Pepe Little. It's like Stuart Little, but with Pepe. That's, Alright, there it is. Does it have electricity? It's low on electricity. Let's, hibernation. I'm gonna hibernate this thing until it gets some sunlight. Where's the sun? There it is. Alright, let's just get a little bit more sun. There we go. Turn off hibernation. We just need to send a temperature information. There we go. You know what? I might as well hibernate this thing. There's no point in leaving it running. Really, there isn't. Because all it does is it drains the battery. It doesn't help anything. If the thing tips over, it's out of batteries. Too bad. Now, as for why it would tip over, I don't know. But it could. It could. Okay, out of Kerbin, we need to test a stack separator landed at Kerbin. And then what's this? Test a kickback engine. Solid fuel booster. Suborbital trajectory at... Oh, it just wants us to haul it up there. We don't have the kickback booster, do we? We could use that as a way to get out. Test Juno splash down. Let's do that. Can do that. Can do that easily enough. I think. So we can do 2 in 1 here. Where's our droner? There it is. We're gonna load the droner again. Just give me 2 seconds here. What was the mission? So we need to test TS-06 separator landed at Kerbin. So TS-06. There's the TS-06. Oh, come on, why can't I add that? Where would I have to add the TS-06? I have to add it there or at the end. Where? Okay, there's just nothing on here that has an attachment point. Darn. Okay, what about this thing? Oops. Okay, the girder is huge. Might not be what we want to use. Huh. Because we do have the Juno engine on this thing. Ooh. This isn't going to be pretty. I can't test that any other way. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I just thought of something. We put a docking port there. That gives us an attachment point, right? It's not useful for anything, but it gives us an attachment point. So we want to test this thing, land, then we want to do the Juno basic jet engine and land it in the water. I think we can do that. Let's go to launch. I'll have to be back in a couple of moments here. Nature is calling me for some reason, and I have to answer the phone. So we'll be back. Eject, please. Let's go back to it. We will resume our flight. So we need to test that the stack separator landed at Kerbin. So we can do that. Off it goes. That was scary. And we need to test the jet engine landed. Okay, so here we go. Getting a little bit of thrust. Whoa, hello. Okay, we got a little bit too much off the back there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Not a great landing. What if, no, did we lose something? I think we lost something. Yes, we did. We lost our air. Okay, we'll try that again. A little bit more intelligent this time. So we partially broke the droner. That's not a big deal. At least we didn't lose the droner, hey? Okay, let's do new. Let's go new. We'll add this guy. Throw on a battery. And don't really need much. Just this. And a Terrier. And the Juno is going to go on the other side. So, the Juno isn't even going to do anything. This guy's going to do everything. And what is this? 1.05. That's not nearly enough. Hold on. Terrier. Maybe I need swivel. Is a swivel enough? Swivel is 7. And that gives us 300 meters per second delta V. Okay. Well, then we'll try this. Oh, wait. Ha 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 ha. Mistake. Almost made. There we go. So the idea is, we're going to land this thing in the water, and then test the Juno engine. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to check something. That was the staging, yes. Okay. Oops. No. This goes after. Alright. Heading towards the water. Everything's fine. The sea is calm. Uh-oh. That might have been too far. Or not far enough. Hold on, hold on. Keep us up, keep us up. We gotta land in the water, remember. Okay, are we over the water at least? We are now over the water. Good. We will retrieve the parachute. That will hopefully bring us into a safe, easy landing in the liquid area. That's right, the liquid region of Kerbin. Some people call it an ocean. I don't think it's quite that. More like a pond. A very deep pond with sharks and scary looking fish. Here we go. Come on, time warp. Let's go, let's go. Gotta land in the water. I don't even know how close we are. I'm assuming that that altimeter is accurate. But we don't know. Oh, I think I got a canker sore on my tongue, darn it. Alright. Bit of a rough landing. We lost our engine, but that worked. Oh, we lost it. Well, let's recover. We lost the engine and the fuel. Yet somehow that thing was able to run for a little bit without fuel or air. It's 1100 back. He lost more than I was expecting on that one. That's plus 8,000, so hey, that works. Plus 2,000 for the stack separator, so hey, that works. 30,000 for surface data from the moon. Hey, that works. What else can we do? Flight over Kerbin, in-flight over Kerbin. Satellite. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to test the Ant on an escape trajectory out of Kerbin, and we are also going to test a stack decoupler on escape trajectory out of the Moon. We are going to do both of those on the same flight, and we're going to show you how right now. Let's get in here. We're going to open up the Moon one, wherever it was, unmanned. Wow, 15,000? Wait a minute. That's way too expensive. How did that get to be 15,000? Well, because I put a second engine on it. We can take these off. We're not going to be using parachutes or science, for that matter. So we need an Ant engine, which is going to be this dude. Right there. Thrust limiter to 0. Alright. And a decoupler. It's going to be on our escape trajectory from the Moon. So that would be stack separator, no. Decoupler, there it is. How does this work? Moon escape trajectory, TD06, that's it, this guy. In there. Alright. So that's our little decoupler. That's going to be tested on the escape trajectory of the Moon. And then the Ant engine is tested afterwards on an escape trajectory out of Kerbin. This is our little thing. When we're in vacuum, how is this going to work? 2906. See, that's no good. I think we need to get rid of this. We need to do the smaller fuel tank. 1902. But of course, it's less dead weight. I know not entirely what this will be. We do have these two things. Just really hopeful that it works is the thing. So 28. What's our specific impulse? So the Terrier specific impulse, once it gets into orbit, it's 345. That's incredible. It's great. This one's only 320. This one's 315. You know, they're just so low. This one doesn't really list it. 165. Yeah, not a great efficiency out of those guys. But then again, low part count. So why not? I think this will get us to where we need to go. As for how much we'll have when we get to the Moon, so 2645 out of this dude. 2268 out of these two. So these two will almost get us into orbit. This one will hopefully definitely get us into orbit, and then this one is for adjustments. That's 2645 for the other Terrier engine versus we add an extra fuel tank. 2645 becomes 2152. Then this one gets way more. 2152, but then we have to cut into this one a little bit more. And it's a little bit more dead weight going up. Or this is really messing with the dynamics here. Then this one's only 2000. So yeah, that's... We get a little bit more out of, hold on. This configuration, I think. 2268's a little better. I think this is going to be our preferred configuration. We're going to try it with this one anyway. So this is going to be, it says Moon, but it's actually going to be our vessel that is used to escape trajectory out of Kerbin. We're going to basically use the Moon as a gravity pull. It's going to pull us along. Pull us along and pull us out. Whoa, hello, don't tip over if you don't mind. And if you do mind, then just do it anyway. Alright. So this is ready to go. Everything is set. We have liftoff. We have no parachutes. And we have changes to the configuration. So that's kind of like a red herring right there. We really should have added a parachute just in case. Because then we could have recovered this if it fell. Would have been smart. That's all I'm saying. Would have been smart. What also would have been smart double checking that it didn't have a pilot on board, but you know, it doesn't have a thing on it, so ideally it also wouldn't have a pilot. But that still haunts me, you know, that that time we launched one of our pilots not realizing they were on board, and then the thing nearly crashed into the ground. That was awful. That was just terrible. Terrible, I say. Alright, what is our target altitude? Looks like we're hitting 60. 70 out of atmosphere. Altitude reached is 83. Not quite enough, but not terrible. It's going to slowly meander its way back down to 80. Possibly even less. Alright, here we go. 50,000. I'm actually going to go ahead and start the secondary burn here. Burn this way. Don't need to go too high. Don't need to go too far. But we do need to build up that tangential velocity while we're here, so there it goes. Our velocity's actually... But it is pushing it out, so that's what we wanted. Orbit velocity is for what's there right now, not for what's going to be there in the future. So this is worthwhile to start the burn early. There we go. Just need to bring it up to 2,000, dude. We're actually burning quite a bit here. Here's hoping we actually can make an escape trajectory. If we can, I'm going to be very disappointed. Of course, it wouldn't be the first time I'm disappointed. I mean, yipes. Been disappointed more times than I can count. Where is my antenna? Don't tell me I forgot it. There it is. Need this for communications. You never know. Alright, apogee is looking at 88,000. We're slowly creeping along here. Slowly being the key word. I don't know if we could just like haul one of those really heavy engines up, you know? One of the ones that does like an exceptional amount of acceleration. Minus 11 until apogee. Just gotta bring that up. We'll just keep pushing. Keep pushing it along, we'll get there. You must believe. If you do not believe, then you do not believe. Only leaves believe. You must be a true leaf Pokemon type. If you do not believe in the leaf Pokemon, that sounds like it would be good for a Pokemon challenge. Using only leaf types in Pokemon Fire. Pokemon Fire Red, or Pokemon, I guess Pokemon Leaf Green would be the correct cartridge to use. But then you can use, you know, your leaf-type Pokemon. It'd be like, you must believe in your leaf Pokemon and not pick up any other type. Even if you get a Pikachu, yikes. You just have to leave it. Have to leave it be and ignore it, you know? That'd be kind of sad. Alright, here we go. Let's see that perigee positive. Almost out. There it goes. 39 and 70. Okay, perfect. 70 and 104. Not terrible. Could be better. There's our moon. To accelerate from roughly... It's there. We're going to be up here in a minute. So we're going to accelerate from roughly here. Towards the moon. Moon's going to help pull us out. Hopefully. Like, depending on how we do this. Hold on. This is up. I want to bring it down a little bit. And bring it really, really far in close to the moon. Oh, hold on. No. Kind of like that. That's going to be our best bet right there. So we use the moon as a gravity assist to push us out. And that'll allow us to do both of these things. Now this is going to be an 800 meter per second burn. We have enough for that. We just got to plan very carefully. It's 46 seconds to the point. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and point this north-south oriented. And then where's our solar panels? Maybe I should just put the thing in hibernate before we get there. No, don't test the engine yet. Hybridination. There we go. Hybridination is complete, so this needs to make its way around to here, roughly. Check that out. We have communications. Alright, so into 46, we're going to be burning at 23. I'll go ahead and take this out of hibernation mode. Point ourselves down here. You see a little bit of that natural frequency there. So at 23 seconds, we'll start the burn. We should have full control right about now. We start the burn, we separate, we start the secondary burn, but we don't separate the secondary. Start the secondary burn. The second one doesn't separate until... Oh dear. I missed it. Missed it by a little bit there. Just a little bit. Not by enough that it's like, oh my goodness, 404 guy, how dare you? But by a little bit. I think we'll still make it. We're going to use the moon as a gravity slingshot. That'll push us out of the Kerbal sphere. It might have been nice if we had attached, I don't know, something better. More science stuff, you know? Separate it. And there we go. A little bit further. Let's see how we are here. Are we close? We're close. Alright, so that gets us close. Very close, not close enough. There. So that gets us on an escape trajectory. That's what we wanted. We're going to be passing within 150,000 of the moon. We're going to be putting this thing into hibernation mode because I can't trust this game as far as I can throw it. And does this count as an escape trajectory of Kerbal? We are not on an escape trajectory. So we need to test the TD-06 once we get to the moon because we're going to be doing a flyby and an escape trajectory by definition. And then the Ant liquid fuel engine is going to be an escape trajectory out of Kerbal. Again, by definition. Because it's not going to be going straight from the ground to an escape trajectory. I'm hoping that's what that means. Alright. I'm hoping against hope here. Kerbal Space Program has proven itself to be very non-literal in the past. Meaning that what it says is not what it actually means. But I'm going to have to trust it on this one. Because we've already taken off the ground. I'm going to need some more apple juice. I still got a sore on my tongue. It hurts. Alright, here we go. Keep an eye on this guy. See if that escape trajectory for the decoupler comes into play. The moon escape trajectory. Let's see. Alright, it is! It is! Awesome! It works! Escape trajectory, moon. Here we go. Test this separator. How do we test the separator? To activate the part through sequencing. Okay, so that's this guy. And away it goes! Goodbye, separator. We will never see it again. So once we get out of here, we will be on an escape trajectory from the Kerbal sphere. Once we escape from that, look at this. We're going to be way out on the other side there. We almost could get to Duna. To Do Not Disturb. Pretty close. Using that moon as a gravity slingshot, though, that's clever. I'll have to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for the next time we do anything. Please tell me I didn't just run out of electric. No, I didn't. Why isn't it letting me... Oh, hibernation mode. Okay, I turned it right back on again, didn't I? Okay. Alright. So now we just need to warp to the other side of the moon, which is going to be over here. Here we go. Communication strength is still 100%. Push this out a little further. Here we go. Look at that. Unmanned debris. Okay, so we're now on an escape trajectory out of Kerbin. We can test the Ant liquid fuel engine. Let's test it. Run test. Test complete. See, it would be useful, I think, to have like a little bit of science on here. Maybe just a thermometer or something. Oh well. I'm going to take you out of hibernation. I'm going to actually point you north-south direction. And we're just going to have to hope that it stays operational for the most part. Look at that. We have so much fuel left over. We have 1,800 meters per second worth. That's quite a bit. Like, what if I just burn that prograde? If I burn prograde right now, do you think I could hit Duna from here? Oh, dude, that would be a world first worth doing. Definitely. Hold on. If I got out to here, add a maneuver. Oh, control locked, of course. Give me 2 seconds. I want to test something. Hibernation off. Now, if I added a maneuver right here, once we get there, of course, do you think we could hit Duna? Set that as our target. So if we did that, I think we'd be off, wouldn't we? We're just off. Ascension, no. Descending node, no. Question is, where would we be on Duna's course here? I don't think we would hit Duna. We wouldn't hit Duna Disturb. What if we hit here? We added a maneuver here. It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't show us where they would intersect. Oh, wait, there it is. So this guy would be early. Which means I have to send it earlier, don't I? Does anyone have to send it here? Wouldn't work. No, I think I have to be on the other side here. I have to have Duna right behind me and then send it like so. No? That's not what it is? I mean, it's not in the missions. It's not something I have to do. It would just be pretty cool if we could do that. No, that's too much. You almost need to wait a year, bring it back around to here, add a maneuver here, and then aim for Duna from that. Almost, but not quite. Not quite. So then the other option would be to send it from here. This would be closer. This actually looks a lot closer, but it's still 1,000 meters per second. We could hit Duna. We could do that. So if I sent it out from here then, I'm just testing this. I'm just doing random crap. Random garbanzo. This would be very close. So I almost need to just send it from the apogee of this orbit right here. And send it out there. So I'm almost on the wrong side here. If I did do that. This would basically, this lines us up pretty well right here. And that's 800 meters per second of delta V. 900. That's 1,000 right there. But that would put us in orbit of Duna. We don't need to go to Duna. There's no reason for us to do that. Look at how close we are. Just 1,000 meters per second. We would need to do a burn right there. And how long is that? How far away is that? That's 229 days. Do I have any other missions on the go? Just exploring the moon. I'm tempted to do that. I'm tempted to at least time warp this until we lose control of the, or we lose communications. I'm gonna put you in a hibernation, and let's just see what happens here. All right, so let's warp this. I'm really curious to see what this does. Hold on. What's our regular time? I want to see this in normal daytime. Okay, so our signal strength is starting to go down. Only 99% at the mo. 98%. 97%. Okay, so we're slowly losing that communication strength, but will it be low enough by the time we get out there? Right, because we're now in orbit of the sun. 88%, 87%, 86%, 85%. Yeah, we're losing it steadily. Losing it steadily, but we're not losing it that badly, though. It might be a weak signal, but it's still non-zero. So, I have to wonder here. Bread. I have to wonder here, bread. I think it'll work. This is really... That, like, this is at 50%. This is how far away we have to be. I think that's a no-go. I think that's a major no-go. I think we're not going to get it. 30, 20... No, no, we're there. We're done, basically. That's not going to work. Darn. That would have worked if everything had lined up a little better. Alas, it will not. Take this out of hibernation real quick. Delete this node. The only hope that we have is if we can hit it from here... From here, basically. Like, right from here. Just burning from here if we can hit it. That's our only hope. Like, we've got 3% left. It doesn't look like that's going to work. No, we're going to be too far. Oopsie. No, don't add a maneuver there. Change this maneuver. Still too close. What about at the far? Doesn't show us the far end. Darn it. See, I want to see if I was to maneuver out from here and push out, right? Then if I added a maneuver here to push back in, right, it doesn't show us that. Okay, hold on. Delete mode. Still at 3%. We've still got a ways to go. Okay, let's try it. We'll try this. Let's go way out like so. No, that doesn't change. Wait a minute. There was something there. Right there. Right there. It collided for a second. Right there. It collided for half a second there. Just for a moment. Just for a moment. Darn. I just need... I can add a maneuver there. If I monodify this... Monodify? Is that a word? We're so close. Oh, we're so close. Yet so far. Nope, not that way. Right there, that's where we need to be. We need to be so much closer, though. We're trying to hit it from such a distance. There, we got it! 1,300 meters per second, we can do that. We got to burn for 38 seconds, node in 3 days. But we're close enough to that node right now. How are we relative to the sun? Point this at the sun. Node is in 3 days. Let's watch this. This goes down to 1%. I'm just going to send it. Okay, 3%. Still too slow. Come on, 3% is nothing. Two 1%. We're gonna have to send it from here. This is pretty close, though. We're trying to hit Duna. We're not even supposed to yet. Not even supposed to be close. But you know what? If we have a wasted space capsule that's just going out into the nowhere, to the nowhere realm, we might as well use it. Might as well do something with it, you know? It'll be what it be. Slowly now. Slowly now. Okay. So now we are there. Did we overshoot? I think we might have overshot it. Darn. Hold on. Can we reattach this? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not the one. This is the one. It says we're going to hit it. It's going to be on the second approach, but it says we're going to hit it. A perigee. This seems to be predicting that we're going to hit Duna now. What's our perigee looking like? Pretty far out there, but we're going to hit it, dude. We have a little bit of fuel left, but we're not going to be in communication. I'm going to put this into hibernating mode. Alright. So according to this, there's a very good chance that we will hit Duna. At which point our orbit will not be severely changed, but we will at least have something. Alright. Well then. Let's go back to, oh, say it, don't spray it, boy. Let's go back to the Space Center. So that's not terrible. We have something that is probably going to eventually come into contact with another planet. Just a flyby, mind you, but it's better than nothing. It is way better than nothing. That's pretty cool. Alright. Around Kerbin, suborbital spaceflight, fly by the moon. You people are insane. Really? It wants me to do 5 of these. Yikes. Haul an engine into orbit of the moon. We could do that. Test a decoupler orbiting Kerbin. We could do that. Yeah, there's a lot of these we could do. Civil engine splash down at Kerbin. We could test both of these. This one I can get immediately. I can test the splashdown ones too. So we'll test those. That'll give us a little bit more to play with. Look at that. Look at our cash flow is really good. We are in a very good cash flow position for this. So, you know, initially I was wondering, is this game even going to... Am I going to be able to play hard mode? Is hard mode even going to work? But now, the question is not, is hard mode going to work? The question is, how did hard mode not work in the first place? Here's our dude. Alright, we need to add a battery and a couple of pair of shoes. Add a battery. Where's our pair of shoes? Here's one pair of shoe. Oops, do 2 of these. And we needed to test a swivel engine splashdown. So what is the splashdown test? Activate the part through staging. Well, it's going to be the part taking us to splashdown, so that's going to be its own thing there. All right. So that's going to get us to the splashdown area. We also need to test a stack separator. TS06 stack separator splashdown. So TS06, where is it? Ah, this guy. Never trust those stack separators. I am going to doobie-doobie-doo, add a couple of couplers here. Just on the sides here, so I can add this TS06 stack separator there. And that's going to be its own thing. I'm going to put it over here. There. I'm hoping the swivel engine thing works. But, you know, hope in one hand. Hope in one hand, poop in the other, and see which one gets hold faster. I'll tell you what. We'll see. Alrighty. Just take it carefully this way. Easy does it. Easy. Okay, not towards the ground, if you don't mind. Oopsie. Oh no! Move these around, quick! Alright, swinging it around, swinging it around. Off it goes. We're over the water, so I might as well just deploy the parachutes. Didn't say how far away from shore it had to be when it splashed down. Wow, these parachutes look weird. 1,000 meters, parachutes deployed. Surface velocity is low enough. It looks like we're going to survive landing. Of course, at 1,000 meters, that's a little high. Wasn't expecting to get 1,000. Killing two birds with one stone, though, doing this test. Alright, 4 meters per second. We are at 500 meters above sea level. We are now 400 meters above sea level. Approaching the ground steadily but surely. We just got to make sure we don't run out of electricity, which we are bound to do. Eventually. And turn off SAS. That'll help save on our electric charge. Alright, 200 meters above sea level. Now 150. Easy does, easy does. So when we splash down, I'm actually going to, once we're at about 10 meters, I'm going to start revving up the engine a little bit just to slow down the rest of that surface velocity vector. I really don't want to lose this engine. Have to run this test again. Wouldn't that just be awful? Alright. 4 meters per second, 3 meters per second. There we go. Alright. So now, splash down. We need to run test on the stack separator, which I think just means to decouple it. So run test. Wow, those things stopped very abruptly in the water. And run test. And that's all of them. Alright, recover them. Then we just need to transmit a little bit of science data back from orbit, which should be pretty easy to do. And look at that, we got a cool 800K, I think. Come on, load. Load! Okay, maybe not quite. Here we go. This guy's still incommunicado. Whoa, wait, what's this? What the heck happened to this dude? Doomed? What happened to my doomed spacecraft? Is it on an escape trajectory? What happened to this dude? Wow, doomed is way out there. It is doomed. Hold on. Orbiting the sun? How did doomed get out there? Did it, like, collide with the moon? It must have collided with the moon. Hold on, what is doomed's trajectory here? Still incommunicado. So doomed is on this trajectory. It's halfway to Duna. Dude. This doomed spacecraft really made its way out, didn't it? Yikes. Okay, well let's focus on Kerbal, not on debris. Let me just get the planet. Here we go. Well, that's pretty close. We need to send space information from one of these dudes. Random floater, I don't think so. We'll go to this guy. I like that I don't have to go all the way back to the tracking center to switch between them. Oh, this guy's got all these green lights. He's awesome. But I think he's out of batteries. No? Oh, he's got... okay, he's got these dudes. Awesome. Log temperature. Alright, that completes another mission. What's our marks? Only 742. I thought we were more than that. I thought we were closer to 800. I guess I was misreading the number. So the plan is... I guess we got to upgrade the assembly building. I guess that's something we got to do. Orbital station, test a chute in flight. Science data from the surface of the moon. I can do that. Need any other science data while I'm out there? Science data from the surface of the moon is actually one of the easier ones to accomplish at this point, because we have a lander that we're just sitting on the moon. Where's our landers? Here's one of them. This is our, yeah, Pepe Little. I got boxes full of Pepe. Pepe Sylvia, boxes full of Pepe. There is no Pepe Sylvia. The man does not exist. Alrighty. Let's get some science data from little Pepe. Just a temperature reading, if you don't mind. No, I don't need a battery reading. Transmit. Good enough. Alright. Back to the Space Center. I mean, hey, it's free money. Scientific data from the surface of the moon, we just send it whenever we feel like. Now, what do we got in terms of missions? Anything else from the surface of the place? Surface of the moon. Not hauling an engine to the moon. No. Okay. So all we have left is to explore the moon. We got to somehow get back from there. Haven't figured out how to do that just yet. Space exploration. What's next on this agenda, by the way? I feel like fuel systems ought to be next, because then we can do this external fuel duct. We can do an external fuel duct, then we can have fuel tanks on the outside of the spacecraft that we can jettison and actually get better results with that. Look at this, all the way up to here, and up to here. Look at these things that we've got to work on much later. Wow! But first we got to upgrade this so we can get this. Actually, this is the big target. The Mobile Data Processing Lab. We're going to put Bargain Bob in one of those. Just put him into orbit and have him study random garbage that he doesn't actually need to study. That's what you got to do when you got Bargain Bob. Alright. So I am just about done. I don't think there's really anything else I wanted to do in this stream. EVA Experiments Kit. Hold on. Hold on. Put that in. What can I do for cargo? So cargo, MK1 pod. Can I put this in? I gotta purchase it first. Oops. Put it in there. Right, so we got an experiments kit now. Let's get Bargain Bab. Not you. Bargain Bab. There. Alright, let's go launch Bargain Bab. We got some experiments for him to do. Bargain Bab. Alright, there he is. Alright, Bargain Bab. Have you got your experiments, crew? Can I put that on you? Can I put that on you? Go on EVA, Bob. Alright, so in his inventory, he's got this. No, wait. Put it into Bargain Bob's inventory. Oh, I can't. Bargain Bob! Oh no. Hold on. Board. Inventory. I gotta switch these. There. Alright, Bargain Bob. Now's your chance to go on EVA. Okay, I don't need to be looking at the pod right now. Alright, Bargain Bob. So EVA report. Perform EVA science. There we go. That's what I want to do. So we're going to go onto the launch pad here. I'm just going to send Bargain Bob down there. Take a look at some stuff. Easy now, Bargain Bob. Well, that's as far as you can go, I guess. Well, that's going to have to be good enough. Do an EVA science thing. Now, what is this? Oh, he's hitting a golf ball. Really? I don't think that golf ball went very far. Okay, well actually that does provide us with science. Look at that. Look through the EVA science kit gave us conclusive evidence that the situation has not improved their creativity. The ball doesn't arc off into the distance. Keep that data. I guarantee the ball does not arc off into the distance. I mean, look at him, he's on the launch pad. For goodness sakes. Come on, climb. Climb it, Bob. Come on, Bargain Bob. Ouch. Bargain Bob is a little clumsy. Alright, Bargain Bob. This will give us a little bit better science. Try it. Oh, we can't try it. Well, we'll recover Bargain Bob then. But look at that. We can get a little bit of extra data from the EVA kit. I wonder if we could do that in orbit. I don't think we can do that in orbit. Do we have to unlock something for pilots to do EVAs in orbit? I think so. Good job, Bargain Bob. Let's recover that. So what is... Kerbals can perform EVAs, can place EVA flags. So yeah, I think you need to upgrade the astronaut complex before you can do EVAs outside of Kerbin. So 1,000 funds for each 1 unit of reputation. I almost don't want to do that anymore. We need more science, though. Minus 10 science, no. 1 science for each 12,000 of funds. Not that desperate. But yeah, we'll call it there for the day, I guess. There's really not a lot else that I really want to do, and these missions are not really capturing my imagination at the moment. So we shall call it there. I'm 7HG404 GUI. Feel free to follow, subscribe, whatever they're calling it these days. I don't know. Have yourselves a great day anyway. We'll catch you next time. And keep on rocking, everybody. I really should keep a list of milestones that I want to complete per stream, you know? Yeah. I don't know. On a per stream basis.